Nirvisesa Sanyavari Paschati Desatarine Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivashari Gaur Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Vanchakapatarubhyascha Kripasindhubheva cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Mukam Karoti Vachalam Pangulangayate Girim Akrapatamaham Bande Siguru Dinatarinam Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivashari Gaur Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare. So we are continuing our reading of various things that Shastra and Srila Prabhupada and the Acharyas have said about prayer. And prayer is a very important part of bhakti. And prayer comes from the realization that I am helpless and there is much I wish to achieve that I'm not capable of achieving without help. And so prayer is that what bridges the gap between our ability and our goal. There's this space. I can get this high. My goal is this high. So how do I go from here to here? I need Krishna to come and pick me up and bring me. And so it's the prayer. And something I've said many times, and sometimes I like to repeat something because I'm not always sure that it's understood as well as it could be understood. But we sometimes pray, but we don't feel that Krishna is responding to our prayers. And it may be that Krishna is not feeling that we are really hankering for what we're praying for, because praying is not official. It's like in the japa retreat we had these last few weekends, there was a quote, and Srila Bhaktisiddhanta was saying, external exhibition of humility, like official humility, doesn't help. So we might officially pray, just like we can officially chant, but we're communicating to Krishna when there's actually a need or a desire that we ourselves are feeling. And so I've said before, and it's very, very important to remember that Krishna cannot feel what you are not feeling. So if we're praying, Krishna, help me with something, but we really maybe don't really want the help, we don't feel the need for it, then Krishna is not going to reciprocate, even though we're verbalizing it, because we're not really communicating that this is what we want. And if you really want something, you're really hankering for something, you feel that. It's a very obvious desire. You can feel it physiologically. That I really want this, I really need this. Krishna, when? When, oh, when will that day be mine? When are you going to give this to me? And the more we hanker for that, and then the more we become qualified to receive it, and the more we have faith that Krishna will give it, then we're in the ideal position for Krishna to reciprocate. But if we're not qualified to receive it, if our desire is not genuine, it's not like we might be saying it because it's the right thing to say, or we might even think we want it, but maybe we really don't at heart want it. So Krishna is he's reciprocating with your feeling. And so then we should know for certain that if I want to advance in my Krishna consciousness and my life is dedicated to that, my heart is dedicated to that, I'm showing Krishna by my action and I'm showing Krishna by my desire, this is what I want, then it's like we can say, it's almost like we're forcing Krishna to fulfill that desire. It's like, in a sense, he can't say no. Like sometimes it's hard to say no to a child. So the child is well behaved and obedient, and then they're asking for something very politely, and it's hard to say no. So we want to put ourselves in a position where Krishna can't say no. Like, I want this, Krishna, I want this so much. How can you say no to me? I'm trying so hard. I want it. I'm working on it. I'm praying for it. I do it every day, whether I want to or not. How can you say no? And Krishna will say, okay, let me think about it. And some of our prayers, I think, we're not very intensely, we're not intense enough in the desire that Krishna would even say, let me think about it. He would say, don't bother me. You don't deserve it, or you don't really want it, or you're not, you're just not ready for this. Show me. So if we show Krishna we're ready, and we show Krishna we really want something, and we're persistent about it, and we show it by our action, then we should have faith that it's going to happen. Maybe tomorrow, maybe next week, maybe next year, maybe 3 years, but it eventually will happen. And you can remember that story, Mukunda, who was rejected, seemingly rejected by Mahaprabhu. And um, when Mahaprabhu said, Mukunda will not be liberated for millions of lifetimes. It's such a beautiful story because Mukunda became very happy, and everyone was confused. Why are you happy? Because it seemed like he was rejected by Mahaprabhu, because Mahaprabhu was blessing everyone. Like, on the spot, you get your blessing now. You don't have to wait. With Mukunda, it's like, well, you'll get your blessing, but you'll get it in a million lifetimes or whatever it was. And he was very happy. So everyone said, why are you so happy? He said, well, I'm getting the blessings of Mahaprabhu. And they said, yes, but that's a million lifetimes is a long time. And he said, yes, but at least I'll get the blessings sooner or later. And of course, you could say a million lifetimes is not long if you look at eternity. If you look at forever, a million is not very long. So that's a beautiful story. If Krishna, why aren't you giving the mercy? But if we have faith that the mercy will come, if we deserve it and desire it, then don't be in anxiety. Just know that, yes, Krishna will give it. Because otherwise, if we look at our lives, we look at our consciousness, we might add it all up and say, well, I don't think I'm ever going to really have a taste for the holy name. I don't think I'm ever going to really have genuine bhakti, real love, and so forth in this life. And that makes sense based on our material qualifications or even our spiritual qualifications. It makes sense. But Krishna consciousness can't be based simply on our qualification or effort. So we have to add into the equation, okay, my qualification efforts have limitations, but I have faith that Krishna will make up the difference. And one of the ways he makes up the difference is that we ask for it, we pray for it. And your prayer is not only we talked about this in the japa retreat. Your prayer is not only showing Krishna what you want, it's showing yourself, it's reminding yourself, oh, this is what I want, because sometimes we forget what we want. Because Maya distracts us. So when we're praying, it's like we're reinvigorating our own desire for whatever it is we're praying for, as we discussed in the Nadanam Najanam Nasundaring verse. we're stating, I don't want material things, and we're stating, I want pure bhakti. So sometimes when a devotee gives a class, the devotee will say, he'll say something really heavy, and he'll say, actually, I'm just saying this for myself. I need to hear this. Don't take offense that I'm uh, maybe it seems like I'm putting you down or making you feel useless or whatever. No, I'm speaking to myself. So those prayers are very powerful for ourselves to remind ourselves what our goals are and invigorate, energize those goals because sometimes we forget or we lose the thread of our own desire. It can happen. Okay. So that's just a little reminder. So Jai Radhe, are you yeah. So if you go to the chat, and Jai Radhe is going to post. Unfortunately, I guess I didn't post where these references are from. Yeah. But here it is stated that a devotee who is always engaged in offering prayers to the Lord is worshipable, even by the demigods themselves. The pure devotees have nothing to ask from any demigod. Rather, the demigods are anxious to offer prayers to the pure devotees. Is the next quote part of the same section, Jairade? Or is it a separate quote? Uh, yes to the first question. And I said, is it the same or is it separate? And the answer is yes, yes. So that means the first one, no, it can't be yes, yes. It has to be yes, one yes or one no. So I'll take it. That's part of the same section. Okay. In the Sringa Purana, it is stated, any person who comes before the deity of Lord Krishna and begins to chant different prayers is immediately from all uh, relieved from all the reactions of sinful activities and becomes eligible without any doubt to enter into the Vaikuntha Loka. So what is this from the Nectar of Devotion, I believe? Um, so basically, this is just saying that offering prayers to Krishna is so exalted that even the demigods worship the devotees who offer prayers. This is considered like such a how should we say it? Such an exalted action that a devotee becomes worshipable by the demigods when he offers prayers. That's amazing, isn't it? And it- then the second reference is stating two things. You become free from sin by praying. That's interesting. And you go to Vaikuntha by praying. Okay, results may vary according to the individual, but at least potentially, this is what's available, right? Uh, so it's just to, like the perennial question, why do I need to pray if Krishna knows what I want? Well, look at these verses, right? Prayer is a process, and we become purified and we become glorious by it, and we become free from sin by praying. And prayer also means glorification. So some prayers are simply glorification of Krishna. Um, mm, yeah. Okay. So we can go to the next quotation. So if anyone's ever asked you that question, why do we need to pray if Krishna knows? And say, well, the Shastra says you become free from sin by praying. You can go back to Vaikuntha by praying. Well, I'm not going to pray because I want to go to Goloka Vrindavan. But Prabhupada uses the word Vaikuntha as a generic word for the spiritual world. So not necessarily particularly Vaikuntha. So here's a song. Um, and I titled this Being Vulnerable and Open with Krishna because this song is Bhaktivinoda Thakur about he's being completely vulnerable with Krishna about his fallen position. So, oh my Lord Hari, I don't have the determination to follow any kind of religious path, nor do I have any realization of myself, nor do I have any trace of lovely devotion to your lotus feet. Therefore, being completely bereft of spiritual practices, this wicked, aimless soul is always fond of cheating himself. So, the reason I chose this was to show that vulnerability and confession, because this is really a confession of sorts, is part of the process of bhakti. And as we know in Catholicism, confession is an integral part of their religious process or their sadhana. And we might think that in bhakti we don't have confession. Well, here's a big confession by Bhaktivinoda Thakur. So prayer, this is not every prayer is a confession, but prayer, some kinds of prayers are confessions. This is who I am. And the reason they're confessions is because if, let's say, I needed Hari Bhakti's help in farming, and he's really good at farming. And I would say, Hari Bhakti, I need your help. He'll say, why? And I'll say, well, last year, all my crops were ruined by insects or by animals, or I used the wrong fertilizer. I used too much water, too little. I'm giving him a whole list of reasons why I don't know anything about farming, specific examples, with as evidence that my plea is valid and that you should help me. So Hari Bhakti looks at me and goes, yeah, it looks like you really don't know how to farm. So yeah, I can show you, I can help you. So you're going to Krishna and saying, Krishna, I want to be your pure devotee, but I have all these disqualifications. Here's the list. I'll read you out my list so you can hear how disqualified I am. But I still want bhakti. So considering I have no qualification, but I want it, you really have to help me. So that's the idea. Um, yeah. So if you've ever wondered, do we have confession? Well, we do. It's not part of our daily sadhana, like inculcated within our temples. But it can be part of your daily sadhana. Just like in the japa retreat, I was telling devotees, before you chant japa, you should say, thank you, Krishna, for coming to me in the holy name, right? And so that's so important. But appreciation, even though it's so important, it's not inculcated as, okay, every morning at 5:15, we do 5 minutes of appreciation. It's important, but it's not inculcated there. So this is another example of something that's important, but it's not within our normal routine that we can add to it. And so now I'm telling all the devotees, before you begin chanting japa, say thank you. Thank you, Krishna, for coming in your holy name. We say Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda. Okay. You can continue to say that if you want, but say thank you also. And when you finish, say thank you. And any time during the middle, say thank you. Like you probably never heard that before, but it makes sense. And so, there's a lot of things within our Shastra that lend themselves to practices that are not normal within ISKCON. So, but it doesn't mean you can't do them, or it doesn't mean you shouldn't do them. So, praying to Krishna, to lay out your dirty laundry, so to speak. Look at my dirty laundry, Krishna. I tried to clean it. I used bleach. I used stain remover. Still, it's not white and it's not clean. The only way we're going to get it clean is if you help me. That's the idea. So So Krishna might say, well, show it to me. I want to see it. I want to see your dirty cloth. I want to, make sure. So like here, I cheat people, I lie, I steal. I think about, how to enjoy this world. I'm always competing. I'm envious. Oh, okay. I could see it pretty dirty. Okay. I'll help you clean it. You really need it. And of course, you could show Krishna your dirty laundry, but he needs to know you want it clean. So it's really important for me to have this clean, Krishna, because if it's not clean, I can't really worship you. So I really want to worship you. I really want to love you. Like more than anything, that's what I want. And I can't do it. And I'm banging my head here on the ground, crying, yeah, because I can't do it. And I know you could make it happen. So that kind of expression, Krishna will say, "Oh, I guess, I guess I need to help you." Right. But if it's official, Krishna might say, "Yeah, whatever. Yeah, yeah, you're praying. Oh, Krishna. Yeah, yeah, whatever. I'm not feeling it. I'm not feeling it." Okay, so we can go to the next quote. Sorry, Prabhuji, I'm just not feeling it. Come back when you feel it, because I'm not feeling it. Come back when you're serious. Okay. This is a this is a prayer of expressing complete dependence on Krishna. Dear Lord, you are known as Patita Pavana, the rescuer of the most fallen, and I am one such fallen soul. Therefore, you are my only hope for deliverance. Therefore, you are my only hope for deliverance. Now I have achieved the soles of your lotus feet, for I have taken complete refuge in you alone. I am your eternal servant, and you are my eternal master. So this is an expression of like, you are my everything. Um, and it's kind of like your house is on fire and you call the fire department. It's the only way you're going to get rid of that fire, right? So it's like, here I am. Here I am, Krishna. Like, you are the fire department and I'm on fire. And I'm calling 911 or whatever your number is for an emergency in your country. And so, it's like, here I am, 911, I'm on fire. You're the fire department. That's the mood of this prayer. Like, um, like it's like I called the fire department, you have to come. So like Krishna, I called you. You were the savior of the fallen souls. I've taken complete shelter at your lotus feet. So it's kind of like, so let's get to work. Let's like come and put this fire out. That's what the devotee's saying. Like, Krishna, I've given myself to you. I've given up everything else. I've given up hope of achieving anything any other way. So it's kind of like just reminding Krishna, like, I gave up everything for you. So, and you are the savior of the fallen. Here I am, one bona fide fallen soul, fully qualified fallen. I have all the qualifications of a fallen soul. And you are the savior of the fallen soul. So it's a good match. Here I am now. Pick me up. That's the mood of this prayer. Okay, I'll go to the next one. This is entitled Begging for Shelter and Refuge at the Lord's Feet. Humility and devotional surrender by an anonymous Vaishnav poet. So this is as anonymous. It's by Bhaktivinoda Thakur, right? Okay. Oh Lord, hopelessly taking birth over and over, I have now come to you for refuge. Please show your merciful nature and deliver this wretched soul. So it's the same, it must be the same song, right? Same mood. You bring about auspiciousness for the world, and you are the master of all the worlds as well. O Lord, what will become of me if you forsake me? So it's like this mood, this same mood, like if you don't save me, who's going to save me? What's going to save me? Certainly, I can't save myself. I mean, you ever feel like that? Like, if it were up to me to save myself, that would be a losing proposition. It would be like, why even try? You know, sometimes you're given a task which is impossible, and you think, well, why should I even try? I can't do it. Why would I waste my time? So why would I waste my time trying to save myself? Because I can't, unless Krishna, you come and save me. It's not possible. That's the mood. So this is healthy codependence. This is sat codependence. It is the reality of our our dependency on Krishna. And so, Krishna likes it if you tell him that, if you just acknowledge this. Krishna, you look at me, look at this pathetic living entity who on their own to just mess up everything. If I try to be Krishna conscious, all that's going to happen is if I become a little Krishna conscious, I'll just become proud and then I'll fall down. I mean, on my own, it's like I'm hopeless, right? You know, I'll make a little advancement, then I'll get a little praise, and then it'll go to my head, and then I'll go back down lower than where I started. So, Krishna, look at this pathetic person, like my material desires and attachments are like the ocean, never find the end. And if you don't if you don't save me, there is no way I'm ever going to be Krishna conscious. So you could imagine, the mood of Bhaktivinoda Thakur. It's like you're holding on to a rock on the side of a mountain. You slip down and you're calling up, please pick me up, because you can only hold on so long and you're going to slip and you'll kill yourself or injure yourself, severely injure yourself. So our position's like that. And so that's the mood of this prayer, or it should be the mood of our prayers. Like, it's only you that can help me. Without you, I am finished. I will be recycled, literally recycled in the cycle of birth and death without you. So the next verse, and these are different songs, I guess, because we went from verse 2 to 4. Now we're going to 3. I don't know anyway, they're all independently beautiful. Now Bhaktivinoda falls upon the ground, weeping piteously, unable to maintain composure in his heart, and says, "O my Lord, kindly favor this rogue with your causeless mercy, and give me the shade of your lotus feet forever and ever." Wow, beautiful. So you can feel the emotion of this song, right? Because Bhaktivinoda Thakur is expressing his emotion. He's crying because without you, I cannot achieve your lotus feet. Yeah. And so then he uses this word causelessly. In Sanskrit, the word for causeless is a haituki. A haituki, hetu means cause. Hetu. Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu, Toya Karamori, Tomavina. Anyway, I think it's in that song, Hetu. Anyway, Hetu means cause, and a haituki means without cause. So without cause means I'm asking for your mercy. I don't deserve it. And I'm not, if you are going to only give me mercy that I deserve, then I probably won't get any. So I'm asking for causeless mercy, mercy which I don't deserve. There's no cause for it other than your own love, your own kindness. So, so sometimes we pray to Krishna, please be causelessly merciful. When we say, please be causelessly merciful, we mean, I want mercy, which I'm not qualified to get. If you examine me, then if you take an examination of me and look for my qualification for mercy, I will get zero mercy. So don't judge me don't evaluate me to give me mercy. Make it causeless without no, like health insurance without an examination, like that. Don't examine me, just give me the health insurance. Causeless, like that. Don't examine my qualification, just give me the mercy. That's causeless mercy. Okay. Priyanka says, as you stated, prayers are important and we should do prayer, but we should not ask Krishna for material desires, but Krishna is our only protector and provider. Should we pray to him for material gains as well? Because material things support to do spiritual activities. For example, Lakshmi will help us to visit the Dham and use it for service. I will answer your question by saying, if you're praying for something to use in service, that what you're praying for is not material. So once I clarify that, and I would say, yes, you should not pray for anything material. But praying for something to use in Christian service is not material, right? So now you might say, but I'm getting old, and if I don't have a family and get married and have kids, I'll be very unstable or whatever. Okay, so if the conclusion is I need this because it will help my bhakti, and therefore I need this to please Krishna and Guru more than I would be able to do without it, then it's not a material desire. But if it's like, well, the man I want to marry has to be making 7 figures. He has to do this. He has to look like a Bollywood star. Yeah. But then all of that, then it becomes material because then it's no longer about Krishna. It's no longer just about being stable materially. It's all about, high levels of material enjoyment. So then it's material, right? So now, having said that, Priyanka, what I'm going to say next probably doesn't really relate to most devotees, but even if a pure devotee needs something material, they don't want to ask Krishna because they don't want that relationship. They never want to ask. They only want to ask for pure bhakti. So if they have to ask for something material, like Krishna, I don't have any money and I have to feed my family and they're all like starving right now. I don't really want to ask you, but I don't know who else to ask because you have all the money. And so it's no problem for you to give some. And you control everything, so you could do it. So you might pray that way because you have to serve your family. And you're also hungry and you can't live if you don't eat. But there's a reluctance. It's like, Krishna, I have to pray to you for this, but I wish I didn't. Like that. Because the heart of a pure devotee is, I don't want to ask Krishna for anything, I want to give. So if I have to ask him, then it's like, oh, Krishna's serving me. You know, like the story when, I think was it Raghunath? Was it Raghunath or maybe Raghunath? And he wanted to make some sweet rice for Sanatana Goswami, and he was thinking about it, and some little cowherd girl gave the sweet rice. And then he gave it to Sanatan. Was it Raghunath Das? Does anybody know?
Rup Goswami.
Was it Rupa Goswami? Was it? And when Sanatan ate the sweet rice, he was wondering where the sweet rice came because it was not like sweet rice of this world. And he had a suspicion that he just was wondering, where did you get this? It's not ordinary sweet rice. And then Rupa Goswami said, well, this young girl came and she gave it to me. And then Sanatan, he was like so upset. He said, that was Radharani. You took service from Radharani. He said, you can't do that. That was like, it upset Sanatana Goswami so much that Rupa took service from Radharani. So that's the mood of a devotee, to take service from Krishna. Of course, Radharani wanted to give that service, but that's another thing. But that's the mood of the devotee. They don't want to take service, and they only want to take service if they're taking service to give service. So, you have to go back to Godhead. That's the desire of your guru. And you have to do what's necessary. So if you're asking Krishna for help to do what's necessary for you to go back to Godhead, it's okay. But if it's asking for something material that you need, the devotee knows, well, I need this and it'll be helpful, but he also feels like, oh, I wish I didn't have to ask for this. Because he feels like it's like contaminating. It's like, let's say you met a man and he's really wealthy, right? And he really likes you. And you never mention anything about money. And then like after 6 months, you mention you're like, you need money and you don't know what to do because you're going to get kicked out of your apartment. But you don't want to ask him because you don't want him to think the relationship is about money and that you like him because of the money. So there's a reluctance. So you'll ask and say, I really don't want to ask you this, and I hope you don't get the wrong idea, but we had this emergency in our family and we can't pay our rent. And I'm just asking. And so, of course, he's going to pay it for you, but your feeling would be, I didn't marry you for your money. Which is unlike most women who, at least materialistic women, who do marry men for their money. So that's why a devotee feels reluctant to pray. Okay, I think that's clear. Mm. Is Kamalochan says, is causeless mercy the same as grace? Yeah, it's kripa, dayalu, daya, kripa. Well, there's mercy and there's causeless mercy. So you could say mercy or grace. Um, causeless mercy is a brand of mercy. Like you can get mercy that my Krishna was very merciful. I distributed like 10,000 Bhagavad Gitas today. All right, well, you deserve that mercy. But Krishna was merciful. I went out on the street all day. I didn't distribute any Bhagavad Gitas. And Krishna, I need your mercy. I don't deserve it. I can't even distribute one book. Krishna gives it, we're like we have Kripa Siddhi. You become perfect by getting Kripa that you don't deserve. But I think in Kali Yuga, it's pretty safe to say that all the mercy we get is causeless because this is the age where we're all unqualified. So, you could earn mercy, but still, even the mercy we so-called earn is, at least it's way more than we earned. So you could say in a broad sense, it's all causeless. So Rupa Goswami's desire was, he wanted that sweet rice for Sanatan. Yeah, so his desire was to please Sanatan. And of course, it's a pastime which illustrates a very important point. We don't want to take service from Krishna, Radha, our spiritual master. We want to give service. If they want to give service to us, if they say, here, take it, of course we'll take it. And so Rupa Goswami innocently took it, but Sanatana Goswami wanted to make a point. I have a question. I have a prasad bakery project to serve Krishna. Would like to please him very much. Love to bake for Krishna, though I confront several challenges. Where I live, it has been difficult to distribute prasad, being alone. No devotees in this town. Asking always Krishna what to do to please him in this strange reality town. My prayer is to be grateful, To please Krishna, waiting for clarity to know how to reach people. I've tried a lot of things. How to pray, to do very good service to Krishna with prasadam. Yeah, I think you have the right prayer. Krishna, inspire me with ideas. Please make arrangements. Always, in a sense, it's not, in a sense, it's not so much the material strategy, but it's the general, Krishna, I need help. I can't do this. So then Krishna can, you'll be shopping somewhere and run into somebody that has a big wholesale food business, and all of a sudden he orders like 3,000 loaves of bread. So it can happen like that. You may be useless as a business person, but that could happen also, right? So the mood of the prayer is like, I can't do this without you. Help me. In some way, help me. You don't always know how Krishna is going to help you. You could ask, sometimes it's good to ask for specific help, and sometimes it's not, because Krishna maybe could help you in other ways than you're praying for. So you might want to leave it open for all possibilities. Krishna, help me. Oh, Krishna, help me figure this out. Give me an idea. Oh, Krishna says, okay, here's an idea. So you get one idea, and that's all you get. And Krishna, how come you didn't help in other ways? And he said, well, you didn't ask. You just asked for an idea, and I gave you one. But you didn't send other people to help, and so forth. Yeah. Right? So it's the mood of, I don't know how to do this. Please help me. That's, and help can mean so many things. I always do service that I've never done before, or that I'm not so capable of, like that. I'm just like, I'll take Krishna, I'll take any kind of help you can send, because I don't, I know how to bake the bread, but after that, I don't know what to do with it. And, if I can't sell it, I'll have to start a brick business or something, because they're going to be hard as bricks. So please help, any way, you can help. So, is it the prayers that can be offered while chanting, or we must do before chanting to keep the hankering? So the prayers, chanting is a prayer. So I pray to the holy name with the holy name. I pray to the holy name with the holy name for what I'm praying for. So Krishna, help me is a mood. So what's the mood in which I chant? I'm chanting in the mood, Krishna, please help me. Help me with what? Help me be a better devotee, be pleasing to you. That's what's going on during the chanting. Samadarshini says, the more specific we are in our prayer, the better Krishna can reciprocate. Yeah, if you only want one thing, then be specific. But you may only get one thing, because that's all you prayed for. Why not pray for more? Yeah, well, no. I mean, that's also true. You have to be specific, but you can be specific in a general way. Like, I have no ability and intelligence, please. Please give that to me. Mm. Mm. Hare Krishna. Mm. Yes. Okay. Um, I very much like the point of confessions, part of daily sadhana and official prayers. Don't track Krishna much. Sometimes it is advised to say the prayers of great devotees, since it is pleasing to the Lord, but I can relate to it or feel it. So it's still a little official prayer that doesn't attract Krishna. Yeah, well, you can choose prayers that you can relate to and feel, and then offer those prayers with as if they're your own prayers. That's how to do it. I mean, the idea of reciting prayers of great acharyas is that you can try to embody their mood because they're pure, then we're trying to emulate what they're feeling, and we're trying to emulate everything about them in their prayer. So if we can enter into that mood by reciting that prayer and make that mood our mood, then we're utilizing that prayer. But if it's official, it's not really the prayers are not done officially. I mean, they can be, but it's not that beneficial. When you read like we just read this prayer, Bhaktivinoda Thakur, right? So we can meditate on his mood and think, okay, well, how can I relate that to my situation and how I feel? And so then we get inspiration from his prayer, and then you can offer your prayer in that same mood. Or you can offer his exact prayer if you relate to it. And if you don't relate to it, then you can think, this is very elevated. I pray someday to be able to pray this way. So even you can do that. But just reciting it officially is not really what bhakti is about. Divyanand says, sometimes I pray what other devotees have prayed for, Bhaktivinoda Thakur, but I do not have the same feeling. Should it still continue to pray and pray for the feeling? Is it okay? It's like maybe there's a prayer that you really like of a great acharya, but you don't really have that same desire, but you'd like to. So then you could use that prayer and pray. While you're praying that prayer, your mood is, Krishna, I would like to feel it. I'm reciting this because I like to feel this. So this is kind of like practice. So you could do that. Oh, Krishna, you know this prayer, like, Krishna, whatever is bad for me, take it away, even though I'm attached. Whatever is good for me, give it to me, even though it's difficult. Like, that's a beautiful prayer, isn't it? So if I said to you, well, would you recite that prayer? And you might say, that's a beautiful prayer, but I don't feel that way. But I'd like to feel that way. So then we'll say, okay, well, recite the prayer. And your prayer underneath that prayer is, Krishna, I don't feel this way, but I'd like to. And I'm reciting this prayer, so I develop this. So that can be there. So you can recite a prayer of another acharya, because even though it's way beyond your level of Krishna consciousness, but that's where you want to be. So by reciting it, it kind of inspires that desire. Right? Bhaktivinoda Thakur said, Maro bi Rakubi. Maro Raka. Kill me or protect me. That's, we could say, I would like to be able to go to Krishna, go to the deity in the temple and say, my dear Lord, my dear Radha Shyam Sundar, if you like, you can kill me. And if you like, you can protect me. You can do whatever you want. Say, but I don't feel that way. But I wish I did feel that way. So I'm going to pray to the deity like that in hopes that by praying that way, I will feel that way. Because I'm attracted to that. And that's how I want to feel. And that's why we chant the prayers of great acharyas. So the hope is by reciting that we will feel it. Now, we have a problem, Divyanand. You may not have this problem, but we Americans have this problem, and that when we recite prayers in Bengali or Sanskrit, generally most devotees don't know what it means, at least not word by word. You can read the translation after you sing, but while you're singing, you don't know what each word means. And most of you Indians, even if you chant Bengali, you probably have a much better idea of what it means than what we do, because some words are similar. So let me give you an example. Maybe this will sound a little strange to the Indians, but this prayer, Marobi Rakobi, you can kill me or protect me. That's the prayer. So I was giving a course on prayer. There may be 20 devotees or so, maybe a little more. And I said, would you go to the deities and ask them, or tell them, if you like, you can kill me? And nobody raised their hands. It's like, that's like, because the fear is if you tell that to Krishna, then maybe today will be your last day. And so if you're not ready to leave your body today, you may not want to pray that way, right? So this is what I remember. I asked, and nobody raised their hand. Would you be willing to pray this way? Then I said, how many of you have ever sung this song? Marubi Rakobi. Manasa deha geho yokinshu mo arpinantu apade nandakishore. Marubi Rakobi yo ichotum. I forget. Anyway, but so I said, how many of you have sung the song? And everybody rose their hand. And I said, do you know that in this song you sang to Krishna that you can kill me? And everyone's like, no, I didn't know that. Because maybe if you would have known that, you would have, when it was time to sing that bhajan, you would have said, excuse me, I have to go to the bathroom. But, it's pretty likely the Indians in the audience, when they sang that song, knew what it meant. Rako, Mara is death, Rock, So, try to change it slightly in Bengali. Maybe it's the same, maybe, but so you understand, but we as Westerners, we don't. So, so we're all singing a song, Marobi Rakobi, and we don't know what it means. So how can you enter a mood of something if you don't even know what it means, right? So that's one thing. And then this is the most ridiculous part of it. Somebody, I think, like a Westerner, if they compose a song, they could compose this song upbeat, like like happy, Marobi, Rakobi, kill me or save me, whatever you like. But that's not the mood, right? But because they don't know what the words mean, they're just putting a melody. Kill me if you like. There's a song, I'll Be Dancing in the Rain, from the 1950s. I think it was from some movie, maybe. I don't remember. I'll be dancing in the rain. It's kind of like a happy song. Marobi, Rakobi, like that. It's like doesn't make so I think you can understand what I'm saying. It's like you can't take something externally without understanding what it means. It's like me asking you to give a lecture in a foreign language, and I said, just memorize, just read this and memorize it. You don't have to know what it means. And so you give this lecture, and then people throw pies in your face. And I go, well, I was just playing with you. You didn't even know what you're saying. You were just defending them the whole time. It's like, so, so maybe that's a strange example, but you understand what I'm saying. Yeah. What's my favorite prayer? A book idea, maybe. Um, what is my favorite prayer? I forgot my favorite prayer. Right now it's Shikshastakam. That's what I've been absorbed in. Um, hmm. I can't say right now. It keeps changing. It's like I know what it is, but I forgot. Um, I've been so absorbed in the Shishastakam, I can't think of any other prayer right now. Um, oh, I know what it is. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Because, when I chant, sometimes I feel like all these other songs, the moods of all these other songs are contained in the Maha Mantra because you can bring that mood into the Maha Mantra. So it's like it contains everything. Um, I hope that's okay for now. If I think, um, mm, maybe it's Prabhupada's prayers on the Jaladuta. That could be my favorite. My dear Lord Krishna, my dear Lord Krishna, you are so kind upon this useless soul, but I don't know why you brought me here. Now you can do with me whatever you like. Do with me whatever you like. That one. Yeah. Oh Lord, I'm just a puppet in your hand. And if you brought me here to dance, make me dance, make me dance. Oh Lord, make me dance. That one. Okay. Okay. We have comment from Matkoda Nata Dasha. I'm appreciating how much the discussion is really about a deep relationship where we're dependent on Krishna. I'm reflecting on feeling gratitude to Krishna, not just for his holy name, but also for all that he is sending, the easy and the challenging. Can you speak on how this gratitude and trust can shift being in breakdown to having breakthroughs? Yeah. Well, some people say that gratitude is the most positive emotion that you can have. And even if it's not number one most positive, we can easily say it's one of the most positive. Okay. So it being one of the most positive, then what it's doing is it's shifting your focus on what you have on what's going well, what's good, the mercy, the grace that you have, from the focus on what's going bad, what's being taken away, what you don't like. So breakdown is the focus on what's bad. Breakthrough is the focus on what's good. So last night I was telling Tosinanda, she was saying that sometimes people speak badly of other devotees and she gets affected by what to do. And I was saying that a lot of us don't realize the power of negativity. Now that sounds like a paradox, the power of negativity, but it has the power to bring you down. And you can only digest so much negativity without it having a disastrous effect on your consciousness, if not your life. And if you digest sufficient amount of positivity, nothing's going to bring you down. If you digest enough negativity, nothing's going to bring you up, or it's going to be difficult to bring you up. So no matter, it's like no matter what happens, there's always well, at least we're alive. They stole my wallet, they stole my car, they tied me up. It was a horrific experience, but at least I'm still alive. So then you focus on, well, I'm alive, I'm still here. I just lost my wallet, my phone. They stole my car, but So then you could focus on, I lost my wallet, I lost my car, they tied me up, I have burns on my arm. You could focus on that. Or you could focus on, I'm here. I'm still, chanting my rounds this morning. Krishna's still God. No matter how bad it gets, Krishna's still God. That's good news, right? No matter how bad it gets, the spiritual world has not been bombed by an atom bomb. So, atom bomb may blow up this world, but it can't blow up that world. And an atom bomb may kill your body, it can't kill you. So if you have that attitude, then it kind of insulates you from negativity. And so it's so important. Um, mm. So if, you can think about everything good in your spiritual life and everything you appreciate from Krishna, or you could think about all you don't have, and it's obviously going to have a totally different effect. So I was telling Tosyananda, we said, when you understand this, you will insulate yourself from negativity because you'll see it like a food that's bad for you that you don't eat. Oh, I don't eat that food, it's bad. So, people want to serve, like people want to serve you that food. There's a big feast, and you go, no, no, I don't take that. And so in life, people are going to serve you negativity. And so you want to develop this idea. No, 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 I don't eat that. What do you eat? I only eat things that are healthy, like say something positive about somebody. I'll eat that because that's good for me. And it's good for the person who says it. So I think that's extremely important. We have to insulate ourselves from negativity and positivity. We should digest as much as we can. And appreciation will keep you positive. Hmm. Chaitanya Dasi has put a link to the song that I was singing. My dear Lord Krishna, you are so kind on this useless soul. Hare Krishna. Someday I'll play it for you on the guitar, but I need to put new strings on the guitar. Okay. So we can read the next quote. Confession, willingness to accept punishment, and begging for shelter at Krishna's feet. Confession. In the same Padma Purana, there is a statement about submission and humbleness. It is stated there, my dear Lord, there is no sinful living entity who is more a sinner than myself, nor is there a greater offender than myself. I am so greatly sinful and offensive that when I come to confess my sinful activities before you, I am ashamed. So this is another example of what we were talking about before, that within our tradition, we do have confession. And the devotee here is saying that um, he's coming to confess his sins, which is very Catholic, right? Isn't it? We have confession. Every temple needs a confession booth and one sannyasi to confess to. What do you think? Should we start that? Start a new program? No, Indians don't like it. That sannyasi be very busy. No, but he'd get rich because you have to pay. You have to pay fines for your sins. It's how you could support all the preaching with the confession box. You come in and you confess, and then you're given and you pay a fine. Like you have to pay for doing that sin. If you're cheap, you'll stop sinning because you can't afford it. Of course, you're coming voluntarily to confess. So, um, so let's continue reading. Isn't that interesting? He's coming to confess his sins. This is confession in bhakti. This is a natural position for a devotee. As far as the conditioned soul is concerned, there is no wonder that he has some sinful activities in his past life, and this should be admitted and confessed before the Lord. As soon as this is done, the Lord excuses the sincere devotee, but that does not mean that one should take advantage of the Lord's causeless mercy and expect to be excused over and over again while he commits the same sinful activities. Such a mentality is only for shameless persons. Here it is clearly said, when I come to confess my sinful activities, I become ashamed. So if a person is not ashamed of his sinful activities and continues to commit the same sinful activities with the knowledge that the Lord will excuse him, that is the most nonsensical proposition. Such an idea is not accepted in any part of Vedic literature. So what Prabhupada is explaining is that in Vedic literature, there's a distinction between voluntary sin and a voluntary fall down, or voluntary sin and accidental fall and accidental sin. Accidental means that due to weakness or circumstance, I gave in to something. It's not premeditated. I wasn't planning on doing it. And so the Shastra is it's much more lenient with that kind of fall down. But what Prabhupada is referring to here is if I think, well, it doesn't matter if I commit sin because I'll just chant and the karma will go away, then that's like premeditated, and it's creating a rationale for sinful activity, which is like, it's stupid because we're not trying to cheat the system. Oh, I'm going to cheat the karmic system, or I'm going to cheat Krishna. How are you going to cheat Krishna? Well, I'm going to do sinful activity, but I'm going to chant Hare Krishna. So, the goal of bhakti is not to cheat Krishna. The goal of bhakti is not to evade karma by some cheating process. The goal of bhakti is to love Krishna and take responsibility for our sinful activities and give them up. Right? Karina and Rasastali, you're doing exactly the same thing. That's so funny. You were both looking the same way. You can keep doing it. They were both like this. I thought that was funny. Mother and daughter doing the same thing. Hare Krishna. uh, mm. So this idea of committing sin on the strength of chanting, it may be that Krishna is merciful and so he forgives you of your sin if you ask for forgiveness. But it's not the mood of a devotee that, well, I'm just weak, so I'll give into my weakness because there won't be any karma because Krishna will forgive me. That's not the mood of bhakti. That's a very personal mood. I want to avoid suffering, and I know Krishna will protect me from suffering. That's not the mood of the devotee. And that's why a devotee would never take advantage of Krishna's forgiveness. So it's like we take initiation and say, okay, I've committed these sins, but now I'm going to stop. So that's the idea. We're trying to stop. Not like, well, I'll try to stop, but if I don't, Krishna will absorb the karma. But Prabhupada's saying here, if you think that way, there's even greater karma. So I've said before something which is very interesting. If you commit a sinful activity with the thought that Krishna will absolve me of this sin, then Prabhupada said, that thought is more sinful than the sin you committed. If I think, I have this drinking habit, so I'm just going to go out and drink tonight, but I will chant my rounds tomorrow morning and I'll free myself from the karmic reaction of drinking. So Prabhupada would say, not that he ever said it, but interpreting what he said, we can interpret it like this. Don't do that, because that asking freedom from sin and knowingly having committed sin is more sinful than the drinking. So better just drink and don't ask for forgiveness. That's less sinful. Isn't that interesting? Now, if you accidentally fall, that's different. And you say, Krishna, please forgive me. I was weak. Okay, you were weak. That's different. But then it's also different if you keep falling and keep asking for forgiveness. And then Krishna's going to say, well, like, it's okay, I can forgive you, but when are you going to stop doing this? Because I can only forgive you so many times. That's the idea. Okay, you want to put something more, Jai Radhe? Oh, Govinda, or who's ever putting it up. I think we have Chaitanya Dasi and Jai Radhe. That's why we had both of them. So this must be another song by Bhaktivinoda Thakur called "The Sinful Soul Fit for Punishment." Oh my Lord, oh my dear Lord Hari, there are no sinful activities which I have not performed thousands upon thousands of times. And by the fruit of all these sinful activities, I have become robbed of all strength, being helplessly taken for an excruciating, painful ride on the machine of this material world. So now, this is like a song of lamentation. Like, so, um, he's going to Krishna begging for mercy, and he's explaining why I need mercy, and he's explaining his experience in the material world and how I've suffered so much and how much I want to become free from suffering. So it's a kind of prayer where you express to Krishna how much you've suffered in the material world and therefore how much you need him. Okay, go to the next one. Song continues. Seeing no other hope for deliverance in sight, I am now continuously crying before you, my Lord. Please punish your insignificant servant as you see befitting, for you are my Lord and ruling master. Okay, so this this is that prayer which is difficult to offer. Krishna, punish me as you like. And so there are two things here. A devotee might say that in a sense of do what you need to do, even if it's a punishment or whatever, do what you need to do to that so it'll help me in my bhakti. As in another sense is, I've committed so many sinful activities, let me suffer for my sins. That's a sentiment of a devotee. Prabhupada had that sentiment also. Prabhupada said, he was offering a prayer to his spiritual master. He said, let me suffer the lot for which I am due, like whatever karma is there, let me suffer it. But let me remember that I'm always a humble servant. So, um, um, yeah, yeah. So that's the mood of a devotee. Like nobody wants to suffer, but the mood of a devotee is, yeah, I deserve to suffer. Let me suffer as you deem fit. Hare Krishna. I mean, these are elevated prayers, but at least they're examples of prayers. We're learning about praying. You can take these on board as needed. So we have a question from Facebook. What's the difference between intentionally committing a sin and having a naturally sinful nature, like demons, for example? A demoniac person may repent at some point, but are still helpless and feeling envious. At what point is our begging for mercy and forgiveness? Are we expected to change our conditioned nature if we have been thus conditioned for many lifetimes? I wouldn't say, it's not like you change your conditioned nature, but you change your condition. Your first thing you change is your conditioned activities. So I don't think it works to pray for something and not try to do what you're praying for, both internally and externally. Um, it's kind of like, it's like, doesn't make sense. Does it, it, how could it make sense to pray for something, but you're not willing to make the effort to achieve what you're praying for? So say, I am very conditioned, I have a sinful nature. Um, mm, and I feel helpless. Okay. Show Krishna you want to become purified. How can you show him? That would be the question for you to answer. Krishna, I want this to happen. And Krishna says, well, what are you going to do? You can't say nothing. I'm just going to pray. I can't do anything. No, you have to pray and do something. So, the other thing I would say is that there's a lot more you can change than you think you can. It's just a lot of what you think you can't change is often because you don't know how to do it. And if you knew how to do it, then there's a lot you could change about yourself. And a lot we need to change about ourselves. Mm, mm. Then you don't want to use your weakness as an excuse. That's another problem. Why did you do that, Prabhu? I did it because I'm weak. Oh, okay. All right. That's a good excuse. Go to court. Why'd you kill the guy? I killed him because I'm weak. Oh, okay, we'll let you off. That's a good one. Yeah. Well, that's what we tell ourselves, but that keeps you bound in a way that you can't overcome that problem because there's no impetus because you've rationalized it. Hmm. Hmm. There's a lot we can change, that's for sure. There's a lot we can change that we may not think we can. And sometimes we don't think we can because we never tried, because we think we can't, so we don't try. Yes, I see that a lot. A lot of devotees are just, they're caught in cycles of perpetual action because they don't know how to break the cycle. But it's not that they can't, they just don't know. And because they've never broken it, they think it's impossible. And you all know that you can change anything when it's important to you. When something reaches a certain level of importance, and then you change, isn't it? Like, I could never do that. This is the way I am. And then we meet you next time, you're totally changed. You're like 100 kgs lighter. And say, what happened? Last time I saw you, you said, well, I was just born overweight, and this is the way I am. Well, I started exercising, drinking more water, stopped eating potatoes and sugar and white bread. And this, so you had some control. Yeah, I did. I just didn't want to admit it. So you have to be careful. You want to hear a funny story? Prabhupada's sister was a little fat, apparently, short and fat. And sometimes when he wanted to talk to her, he would ask his servant, where's the fat one? Go get the fat one. Joke like that. And then she was with Prabhupada once and she said, I'm gaining weight, I'm getting fat, but I'm hardly eating anything. And Prabhupada turned to Shruti Kirti and said, do you know anyone who gets fat by not eating much? He was like joking with it. So, I'm just fat by nature. There's nothing I can do. Yeah. But then you're like, hey, you can get this job. You're an actress. You have to lose 50 pounds and you'll make $6 million in 3 months if you play this part. Oh yeah, you'll lose that weight. You'll figure out how to do it, right? So a lot of times we think we can't do something until there's a reason to do it. And then we realize, I could have done it. I was just lazy. So that, you want to consider that. John says, please continue to pray for my ministry in Kenya. We really passed through many challenges. Lack of food, shelter, and clothing. Yeah. Send us more information. I can't change is the mantra of death. Mahatma Prabhu. That's from my book, Uplift Yourself. These, these prayers of Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he's a pure devotee. So like they're pretty deep, pretty surrendered, right? So, you have to take it on board in your life in a way that works for you. I think what we're seeing here is this like sold out, the pure devotee is sold out to Krishna completely, right? It's like, I'm yours, Krishna. Okay. Well, Jai Radhe, you have the next quote. Whatever difficulty my destiny prescribes for me, I will gladly undergo. But I have just one appeal to make to you. My dear Lord, no matter what condition I must undergo, please never give me up. I think give up on me. For you are the only treasure of Bhaktivinoda's life. Or give me up, yeah. Give up on me and give me up. Yeah. Mhm. So it's kind of like wherever I go, whatever I do, whatever happens, just don't ever, don't ever not be in my life. It's a beautiful prayer, right? Don't abandon me. That's what he's saying. Krishna, please never abandon me. Um, Anya is asking if there are ups and downs in someone's sadhana, like not being able to read much, what should be the right mood? Like you're saying, you don't want to use your weakness as an excuse, but how do you deal with guilt? The best way to deal with guilt is to stop doing the thing that's making you guilty, or start doing the thing that would stop you from feeling guilty. So that's the best. Now it sounds like you're saying that's not possible. Then if something's not possible, then you don't have any right to be guilty. Because guilt is only, I think guilt is only validated when you have a choice and you act in the wrong way. But sometimes like devotees can't put in the time for service or for sadhana as much as they would like circumstantially. They have kids, jobs, whatever. So then you feel guilty. And I would say you don't have a right to feel guilty because you have no choice there. It's like you're not going to, oh, today I'm not going to feed my kid because, it gets in the way of my japa. No, you didn't chant good rounds, you feel guilty, but if you chanted good rounds, your daughter would be starving to death. So you don't have a choice. She wakes up, she's 2 months old, and she wakes up at, midnight. So it's difficult. So you don't have a right to feel guilty because there was nothing that you were voluntarily doing wrong, right? It's just circumstance. So guilt is meant to rectify us, where we've made a choice to do the wrong thing and we feel guilty. It's meant to rectify us so that we don't make that choice again and do the wrong thing again. So if guilt doesn't have a beneficial aspect to it, why bother with it? Because it's meant for rectification. It's not meant to make you feel bad and depress you and discourage you. Now, I wish I had more time to do seva. I wish I had more time to chant. That's perfectly okay. But to feel guilty that I don't, that that guilt should only be there if you're making a conscious choice to avoid doing so. I feel guilty, I'm not chanting my rounds. Well, why? Well, I work 20 hours a day. Okay. How many hours do you sleep? 3. Okay. All right. Understood. You can't chant now. So, you feel bad about it. Understood. But you don't have a right to feel guilty because you're not guilty. You didn't do anything wrong. If you're doing something wrong and you can rectify it and you feel guilty, hopefully the guilt will inspire you to rectify yourself. Then it's good. Right? If every time you put your hand in fire, it didn't burn, then one day you're just going to let it sit in fire and burn your fingers off. So guilt is good if there's something to be guilty about. And you allow that guilt to inspire you. Otherwise, I think I think a lot of guilt is unjustifiable. Like a lot of us feel guilty that we're not doing more or we're not better devotees. But in many cases, if not all, the person's already the best devotee they can be. They're just not better. They're just not as good as they want to be. So they feel guilty. But it's like you don't have a right to feel guilty because you're trying your best. But your best is not producing the level of bhakti that you want, so you feel guilty unjustifiably. Right? Yes? Uh, so, Tanya, if you want to feel guilty, give me a good reason, and then I'll approve it. But it has to be guilt that's going to help you improve. Otherwise, it's not approved. Throw it out. Put it in the garbage. And don't put it in the recycle bin. Put it in the bin where they're going to burn it up. Hmm. Okay. Party's over. Thank you for coming. I think we learned a little more about prayer today. I'm going to leave now, and we will see you Wednesday, I guess. Thank you very much. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. And Gauramani's going to be coming in a moment.
Hare Krishna, everyone.